the faith walk of the day on this fabulous Friday, May the 8th. I was watching a documentary about the gospel last night, and it was talking about the evolution of gospel music. And I think in talking about the evolution of gospel music, we should talk about how the world shifts, how families shift, how you operate. Here's the big question. How do you embrace the change? Do you embrace the change, hating the change the whole time? Do you embrace the change and try to find God? Okay, God, what am I supposed to be looking forward to? Or are we constantly looking back at what was? We know that our world would never be the same after this coronavirus. And so I'm hoping that we are preparing ourselves for what is next, and that we don't live out the next years of our lives saying, oh, remember before the, like I remember when 9/11 happened, and that's what everybody, remember before 9/11, and we can go to the airport and we could walk people to the gate, and, you didn't have TSA and you didn't have all these things. Well, once things change, they change, and you just have to embrace it. And you have to pray that God will help you embrace it, because, naturally we want what we want. Naturally, we want to experience things the way we always have. There's no sin in that. But I think we cheat ourselves when we don't have the ability to move forward. Whether that is what we're dealing with, the coronavirus, some of your families will never be the same. Your relationships will never be the same. And it doesn't have to mean it's bad. It's just better. And so I'm embracing new things in my family, paying attention in a different way. It's funny because we're all washing our hands, right? And we're all covering our mouths. What if spiritually we did that? What if spiritually we washed our hands a little more often? What if spiritually we covered our mouths just a little bit more often? We were more mindful of our words, more mindful of who's coming in, even who's touching us. Naturally, now we're paying attention to who's touching us. Spiritually, we should have been paying attention to who's touching us, who has access to us. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that this time in our world can bring about newness that we've never experienced before, but it doesn't have to be bad. We can now be more mindful, more personally responsible for our relationship with Christ, not going everywhere, not listening to everybody, not allowing everybody access. You've got to treat your relationship with Christ, treat your person, yourself, with a little more care and concern. Now, you have those people who have always been interesting. Don't pray for me. Don't lay hands on me, And I know the scripture that says, lay hands on no man suddenly. I understand that scripture and everything. But what I'm saying is, I think before this, we were kind of free, loose in our lives, doing what we want, going where we want. And now we have to pay more attention to who we encounter, whose presence we're in. And I think spiritually we should have been doing that. And now that we are, we should stay here. I'm not saying the world be on quarantine, but this type of awareness as to what I'm touching, who I'm around, who is speaking into my life, who's not speaking to my life. I think we should stay careful in this area. All right.